Thanks so much for joining everybody. This is 10 Minute Tuesday, and this is episode 17. And I got my guy on here, Scott Love. Scott, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Really
Hey,
appreciate it.
no problem, man. Thanks for joining. All right, this is episode 17, 10 Minute Tuesdays. We've done this for a while, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Scott Love. I'm CEO of Lovelytics, based out in Arlington, Virginia. I've been working with Sekou now for a couple of years. Lucky enough to get to do that.
Oh man, I'm the lucky one for sure. I enjoy Lovelytics, the best job I've ever been at, and I'm not even just saying that just because you're CEO. But it's my favorite place I've ever been at. But that's my journey. Let's go ahead and hop into your journey. What really compels you to even create a data company, get into data to begin with?
Yeah, so I kind of lucked into it, right? I Prior to starting this company, I'd really only been in sales roles, and my last gig, I was leading sale. I was leading sales and partnerships at another consulting firm that was in the BI space, doing a lot of MicroStrategy and then Tableau, and that was really my introduction into it, right? And I found during that time that I really liked the technology, but on the other side, I think what I really enjoyed was the people, right? I got to meet a ton of people at the time at Tableau, and you started building these relationships both inside of work and then those translated to outside of work friendships, and like that just got me really, really excited about it. And don't get me wrong, like the technology and like how fast it was growing, the explosion of Tableau at the time was great. So really, at that point, I thought, hey, I really like this. I really like the people. I'd love to go and start my own so that I have really control over that end-to-end delivery process. And by control, I mean, hiring really smart people to come in and innovate and deliver and create all these great ideas and get the chance to work with them every day. So that's what really led me to starting this. When it came to actually getting started with Tableau, like I got introduced to a lady named Sarah Lash, who I'm still in touch with today. At one time back in the day, she like threw out, "Hey, you should come and stop by the Tableau office and work from there one day." And I took that and like lived at their office for 2 years, what felt like, and that like they were probably tired of me and thought of what the hell is this guy doing here. But it gave me a real good introduction into their company and how they work, and got to meet a lot of people, which really was a springboard to being able to start the company and expand now into all sorts of other technologies too.
Wow, that's like a fascinating story. Like even me, like I work with you, and I feel like I know the origin story. But even just hearing this snippet, like there's so much more that went into the decision of just let's go, like just create my own and opportunities and the connection with people.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, and I think I think when I before I started, I thought, oh man, like everyone knows everything. Like, how am I going to start this? And like, there was, not this grandiose plan of like, let's build a company. It was like, hey, let's see if we can get a couple projects, maybe a couple people, and like just slowly snowballed into that, which has been fun.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, so understanding the journey, right? Lovelytics now, mega company, mega huge company. But at some point, you weren't working for yourself; you were working for other places.
Yeah.
So to date, what's been your least favorite job that you've had?
My least favorite job, I would say in high school, summer, maybe early college, I did construction for a summer, and I really hated that job. It was just hot. It was just not. No, you just no. I really didn't like it. Not my thing. So I quickly could check that off the list of things I definitely did not want to do. That was definitely.
Yeah, construction is brutal, especially like in those high school like hot summer years. You're just miserable. You're hot. You're tired. Like
Yeah,
it's
so much respect for people who do that. Like
yeah.
it's tough. I remember being so sore at the end of every day, like just brutal.
Got it. All right. So, what is your biggest failure career wise and quotations around failure? And then, what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I would say, I think it's probably relevant to what's going on in the world today. My first job out of school, I got laid off out of my first job, partly because of performance, partly because they were doing larger layoffs, but like still a good amount on performance. And like I know a lot of people are going through that today, and like I can resonate. Like whether, I think for me it was such a feeling of failure on my side. Just like I was one of the people that got let go, and like it's just really hard to to wind that back and like really understand, hey, like man, I got let go. They felt that I was better off this company than in that company, right? And so I think with that, like it allowed me to look internally, and like the bad part of it was like, hey, I actually don't think I knew what hard work was, right? I was a business development rep. I was just like, that's a grinding job. And like you have to
Yeah.
make tons of calls every day, tons of emails. And like I think I thought I was working hard, but then I realized pretty quickly, like actually I don't think I was. And I that's why I wasn't hitting my goals, right? On the other hand, like that company I worked for had just an amazing culture, and they're a fast growing startup. And so I did get the opportunity to see like how these companies grow, how to maintain that culture, how to create that, and like really create sort of that family atmosphere. So did take a good thing out of what was ultimately deemed a failure on my side.
That's incredible. It's crazy that sometimes those mishaps or those opportunities, when you have hindsight, looking back into it, like what you get from it. Like in a moment, you're like, this stinks. This doesn't feel good. But then, like when you look back
Definitely.
and be like, this was really like foundational for
Yeah,
for my
completely.
success.
I mean, you just learn so much from those types of scenarios, right? And it's
Yeah,
hard as hell. Like I think it's at the time really, really hard to see the positives out of it. But X years past, it's
yeah.
easy,
Got it. So, as an executive, you're in an executive role now. What's one lesson that your path, your job has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
Yeah. There's one thing that I think stands out to me, and like it starting like when I started my company, I think one of the biggest hesitations I had about starting it was that I was listening to so many videos and podcasts and everything that was out there, right? And I felt like everyone knew everything. And I'm like, man, I don't know anything at all about this. Like I know my space, I know like what I can do, but when it came to running a business, and I think as I've started it, I've learned that like no one knows anything, right? Including myself being for 6 years. Like it's really, really important. And I talk to a lot of people who are like thinking about starting their business and all that. And I tell them the same thing, like surround yourself with a bunch of people that have done what you're trying to do. Like you're going to have stupid questions. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I wanted to pay myself. I genuinely had to call my accountant and say, like, how do I pay myself? Do I just go to the ATM and like take cash out? I really had no idea. It sounds like the dumbest question, but then, I ask a lot of people who are starting a company and it's like, actually, no one knows that answer. And
Yeah,
so I think, my lesson is like, have that healthy mix of like people in your life that can give you advice, and also the other end of like trusting yourself, right? Don't listen to everyone else who makes it sound like they know everything, because they don't. Like if you have that and you can follow your own intuition and go, like that's really what drives you. So I'd say that's what I've learned more than anything of just starting a company for the first time.
that's awesome. That's so good. That is that's really really good advice. Sound advice. Something I'm actually gonna take from
Yeah.
having smart people around you. Like kind of as a developer, as a worker, whatever, you kind of get in your zone of problem solving. But it helps to have like so many more smart people around you. It just makes things much easier.
Yeah, so I mean, you know how to solve like a lot of these problems too, and a lot of it's probably just hearing from somebody that you trust. Like, hey, yep,
Hmm.
that's the right way to do it, right? And I think there's things like that every day in my life where I'm like, man, I have no idea how to do
Yeah.
this. Like, now I'm surrounded with a bunch of smart people at the company, but like, it's just so important.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So, what is one piece of advice you'd give someone who's just starting out in their career?
Oh man, it's a good question. So probably around like more to do with how you integrate yourself into the culture of a company and like the problems, I guess the solutions that you bring as part of that. Like I think about the people who, at other jobs and even here, the people that I work with that are constantly bringing like well thought out ideas and like constant innovation. And like as part of that, not necessarily bringing just problems, but being like, hey, this is sort of a problem, whether it's culture related, whether it's technical related, whether it's sales related, I don't care. But like they come with, hey, here's the problem. And here's an idea of how we can fix it, or hey, we should pull this person into the picture. And so I guess how that relates to someone starting their career is like if you can really establish yourself as someone who like is a doer, right? Somebody comes in like, hey, here's what we should do. Let's work on this. And I'm not saying you need to be like the person leading every initiative. It's just so much more about creating that image inside of the culture that you're someone who like just gets it done. You're not causing the problems, you're fixing the problems. And I don't think that necessarily means you need to like be selfless and constantly just do things for the greater good of the company, right? But I think it is that plus making sure that you have a path to success. And those people that do that, in my opinion, really just are able to go higher and higher in their career.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Especially those people who come out like I don't. The people who come with a problem, it's great to identify a problem, but if you come and just let it sit there and like you don't have any course of action, it's like mildly frustrating because like I don't want to take it as like complaining or anything, but it's just like there's a problem. Like, what do you want to do now?
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And like a lot of the times, like, I don't have the right answer. I'm not even remotely the best person even in the room to answer the
Yeah,
question. So a lot of times it's like, hey, if you're bringing like some sort of technical approach to me, like I can give you my advice on what I've seen, but like you or Chantil or other people that I've seen on this podcast are so much better to ask that question to, right? And so being able to ideate that and understanding like where can you add a lot of value from your advice and solutions to me is awesome.
perfect. All right, so tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I think obviously like my immediate family, right? I think, started with my dad. I mean, I'm lucky enough to get to work with my dad every day. And like, I saw him really climb the corporate ladder and have a lot of success in that space. Like just seeing what hard work looked like, whether I realized it or not when I was younger, like it was great to be surrounded by that. My mom from a just support standpoint and someone who I could always rely on, my wife in the same way, right? So really that immediate family who, can just be that support system. In particular, like my great grandmother lived till she was 99, and I got to spend a lot of time with her. And she was somebody who was like always happy, like grew up, really in tough times, and she always taught me like just be happy, treat everyone with respect, and like your life's gonna be better, and like that will pay off. And like I think that really rubbed off on me, and something that I try to really, think about every day. And beyond that, I think just the people that I've had a chance to work with at the company, yourself and the 70 other people that are here, like that's been more life changing for me than anyone professionally that I've ever worked with. Like I really, it's been great just to be able to work and like see all these smart people working together and coming up with these ideas that are just so much better than like I ever could have thought of. It's like it's so cool to see all that come together, which I'm just lucky to be a part of that. So I'd say those are really like the three groups or people that have really had big impacts on me during my career.
Well, that's incredible, and it comes out, it radiates out of you. Your dad's the coolest, man. I love working with your dad. Like he's super laid back and chill. That's my guy. But man, I will get this on wax on actual official audio. Man, appreciate all that you do for the company. I know there's so many unwritten wars and battles and stuff that you go through, and thanks for making a great environment at Lovelytics. Like it's by far like one of the best places I've ever worked at, and I'm enjoying the ride. I'm going to keep riding and keep building this thing out. So appreciate all you do, Scott.
Hey man, thank you, Sek. Man, I'm lucky to get to work with you guys. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. So
It is.
appreciate having me on today.
For sure, for sure. All right, and then last thing, where can listeners find you at online?
Oh man, I'm terrible at social media. It's probably like I see all these other people out here are like so much more exciting social media followers. I'm like promoting things on LinkedIn. But no, I have Twitter. It's Scott L. Love, and then also I probably post more on LinkedIn, unfortunately, which I know is the least exciting medium here. But
Nah, we'll hype
that's
up
where I'm at.
LinkedIn. Holler at Scott on LinkedIn. We got some good Databricks content coming out. Got some
There we
other
go.
good stuff. So yeah, follow on
Yeah,
LinkedIn. Thanks, Scott, for taking time out of your day to do this, man. This is great. Easily one of my favorite
absolutely. Thanks,
ones.
thank you. Really
Awesome, man.
appreciate it. Love the
Yeah,
podcast.
no problem, no problem. And thank you all for joining. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will talk to y'all next week. Y'all have a great day.